It's part of, well, actually on the Vaal River. Strangely enough and uniquely, we're fishing off a pontoon, kindly loaned to us by Yamaha. I don't think many guys have done something like this in the past. I've got a nice feature behind me. I don't know if you can see it. There's a nice willow tree, and then a part of it has also fallen over into the water. Not too deep there, it's about 4 or 5 foot of water. Oh, there's a fish just turned over there now. And then the left rod I'm going to fish just close in, about 5 meters past where that fish just showed, 5-10 meters. It's fairly deep, about 15 foot there, just at the bottom where the drop off is, just a little step down. Simple tactics, guys. We're going to be fishing. Usually produced bigger fish for us in the past at some of the lakes. With a simple rig, a rig that's done well in the past for us, a stiff hinge rig with a pop-up. We've got some pink pop-ups on there and another cork, artificial cork, and that's how the rig will sit in the water. It's popped up nicely over the maize, fairly presented to passing fish. Yeah, that's fairly simple tactics. Morning, guys. Back here at Loch Vaal, off the Yamaha pontoon. We didn't have any fish last night, but the rigs are still presented. We've still got the bait out there. We're still fishing. We've got a lot of time left, about 6 hours of fishing, so we're still in with the chance. It's bite time now. I think there's nothing wrong with the bait and the presentation. Definitely stand a good chance of catching a big river monster. So yeah, I think if something doesn't change in the next 2-3 hours or so, I'll look to change 1 or 2 of the rods. But we've still got a good chance now, and we're in with it as the sun's coming up now. So we'll see what we can do, and hopefully have a fish for the cameras. So something interesting we thought we'd share with everybody. Something, it may not mean anything, but to us it means a hell of a lot. It's just a floating reed that Neville, the cameraman, actually hooked in, and it's actually got some spawn on it. But more important than the spawn, there is water snail on here, and it's a different type of water snail, one that I haven't seen before in dams that I've fished around Joburg before. So that clearly means that the carp are feeding on naturals, or have the ability to, and that means there's an abundance of feed for them right in the reeds and the close margins here. Definitely a great food source. I've fished snail before, apple snail. You can buy them from the pet shops. They're about, I think, 14 Rand each. You can buy them fairly big, and you just put 2 of them or 1 of them on the hair. Fairly expensive bait if you really want to, but if you really want to take advantage of fishing naturals, you can do that. It's caught me 1 or 2 really good fish, and I'm sure it will do for you as well. So yeah, definitely worth a try fishing the naturals. Just gonna have a look at the rig that I'm using. My favorite rig, a rig that's caught me a lot of big fish for the past 2 years really. It's a stiff hinge rig. A lot of you guys have read about it in the magazine. I thought I'd do a video for you guys just to see how I tie mine up, and how it looks when it's finished off. We've got a simple piece here. A lot of guys use a stiff material. I use an uncoated braid. It's a Nash Armour braid in 40 pound. I've also got that onto a ring swivel over there. I've crimped a what's it called, a mouth trap. I think it's in 15 pound actually, yeah. A short little section there to form the hinge, a little stiff monofilament onto a little D-rig with a size 4 JRC MBT4 hook, and then simply it's just got a little not a tail rubber, you could say it's a sleeve there, rubber sleeve, just to help kick it out away from the lead. And obviously I also fish with the dissolving rig foam, just to ensure that the hook point doesn't get damaged on the way down, whether I'm casting or dropping. and also on the way back, if I happen to pull the rig or drag the rig back, I want to make sure that the hook point doesn't stab into any stones or anything on the bottom that maybe there, leaves or anything. And then quickly just going to bait it up, guys. Just take a normal pop-up. As I say, I like to draw mine out just to get that extra buoyancy. I draw them out and then I add some cork. Let's draw this one out for you guys quickly. For me, I just, I like to leave my rods for as long as possible. So if I can leave them in for 2 days, I will. And obviously I want to ensure that, especially on this rig, you've got to have it popped up. So that's about almost 3/4 of the way through. You can just do 1 or 2 turns there. We stuff it with a cork, and that'll give, the Nash pop-ups are really good already, but this will just give it a little bit of extra buoyancy. So you can get that in there, and then just chop that down to the size you need it. Like that. There you go. And we can just trim that off, the excess, get it flush. There we go. A lot of guys battle with this when they tie their bait floss on here. It always seems to slip off the side. So what you can do is just take the back of your standing knife. It's a trick that Dan showed me actually. You can just make a little indent across the pop-up all the way through right to the other side, and that way you'll make sure that when you tie your floss on in a second, it lines up and it doesn't slip off. Don't know if you can see it in the video, but there. So once that's on, get your piece of floss, like that, normal overhand knot, something like that. Line it up, get it in the grooves, and once it's there, it will stay there. You can just tie that tighter, like such. That's perfect. Another overhand. Just double it to make sure. Dab of saliva so it doesn't break. Onto the rig that goes. Oh, we've got a run there. Dan, do you want to just get that rod? Sorry, we've got another spare rod off the side, yeah. You can tie this on another normal granny knot again. Once that's on there, it's not going anywhere, even from attentions of fish. Even if you get mugged off, fish blow it out, you're still going to get something. It won't come off, so you don't have to worry about that. Just trim the excess off. Oopsie. Like that, and there we go. That's a finished rig. You can just, with a mouth trap, it's very good. It gets a lot of memory in the line, so you can just bend it over like that just to aid in hooking the fish, and that's what that rig will look like and how it'll sit. And you can see it turns fairly quickly once it's in your hand, if you pull it over. So that will sit like that, sort of like that on the bottom. I think we can get something flat to show you. That'll sit like that off the bottom. So Dan's had a bit of a rethink. We think we're going to change it up a bit. You're an official Zigs a bit, Dan. I know you love fishing Zigs. If you could maybe just show the guys, your approach and how you go about doing it, I think that would be great.
Definitely. First of all, as you saw on the fish finder, there were no fish on the bottom this morning. Lots of fish crashing mid-surface. So I'm going to opt for a Zig now. In 7 meters of water, which is 21, I think it was, 18 foot of water. 8.5 foot Zig. Just going to fish a foam. Let me show you what other options there are. Here are a few Zig bugs we've personally tied.
And you usually, when you fish your Zigs, do you usually fish one rod, or do you like to commit more than a rod at a time, or how do you fish it?
Preferably all three, to find which layers in the water the fish are sitting at, but in this situation I'm only going to fish one.
Okay. And what, I mean, I know you mentioned before you like to flavour your foams, especially, I think you've got your favourite flavour here.
Very much. Yeah, this is a Rodachi Mega Spice. Just want to boost my hook bait, to say. We'll just squeeze the foam into this liquid so the foam can absorb all the oils.
Oh, okay. So you just squeeze the foam, and then as you let go, it sort of sucks and draws the flavour in. Okay. And then
that's ready to go.
What do you fish over this, more importantly? Can you fish sort of, I know a lot of guys try supercast, or, you know, that's on the market. There's some other stuff. What do you preferably use? What's your favourite stuff? And then how often, do you do it often, or is it, you know, once off? How do you?
Normally we'll be fishing spot mixes, but in this situation we only brought maize on this session. So I opted for a bit of crushed maize, and I'll be feeding it on a little and often basis. Maybe just 3 handfuls every 15-20 minutes.
Okay. Oh, so with the crushed maize, obviously you've got, I see you've got finer pieces here, you've got a little bit more coarse. It's obviously going to come down through the layers. So wherever the fish are, whether they at a lower level or higher, it's going to bring them in for more
to the depth of my Zig.
Okay.
So as we said, I'm only fishing one Zig. I can't find what layer the fish are feeding at.
So you don't have that.
I want to bring the fish to me, to my bug, in the layer that my Zig is at.
And if you don't have any runs at that depth, will you change it after a certain time, or how will you, even with working with one rod,
maybe after an hour I'll change it, or I'll definitely swap over to one of these colours. Maybe a brighter colour in that darker water, that depth of water could work.
Okay.
But I'm going to try this black and red to see what happens.
Perfect. Well, there we go, guys. I think that's it from the Zig world, and hopefully we can get one for the cameras. Dan, so definitely the move to Zigs worked out, I guess.
Yeah, 2 fish in under half an hour on that red and black foam as we spoke about.
Okay. So that's the colour then, obviously, at the moment it's working.
Yeah,
so
red maize and that dip. Definitely working.
Well, it just goes to show that the fish are up in the layers. Let's get this net. But it just goes to show that they're up in the layers, and definitely worth changing over to Zigs, you know. Really, yeah. Nice dark one, eh?
Yeah.
Nicely done. Well done, bro. Perfectly hooked that one, eh? Straight in the mouth. Taking the Zigs.